In the last 6 months, we've settled 2 cases over $20 million at our firm. And so we're going to do a little bit of like, when you get that massive case, what do you have to do to get them to pay you, the $20, $30 million that on cases that other people might settle for 3 or 5. So it's not just like saying, hey, we're badass. But it's like, hey, if you get one of these cases, of course, we'd love to partner with you on it. If you do these things, you get paid a lot more money.
Welcome into the Lawyer Rumble podcast. Today we have Michael Cowen. He's the founder of Cowen Law, the trucking trial lawyers, one of the nation's premier trucking litigation firms. Michael is board certified in both personal injury trial law and truck accident law. He's handled more than 1,000 trucking cases. He's tried over 120 jury trials. He hosts a Trial Lawyer Nation podcast. He's the author of Big Rig Justice, and he's also the founder of Big Rig Boot Camp, one of the leading trucking litigation conferences in the country, returning to San Antonio on July 9th. Michael, welcome to the Lawyer Rumble podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really, really excited you're on. So let's just jump right into a Big Rig Boot Camp. For attorneys who aren't familiar with it, even though it's been going for 8 years and it's got a pretty awesome following and reputation, what is it and why did you decide to create it?
Sure. What it is if you want to learn how to do trucking litigation, then up your game. Whether you're a beginner that wants to learn the basics or you've been doing it for 20 years and you want to learn the advanced stuff. I have created a program where I get to teach what I think is most important for people. I get to fill in the gaps that maybe you're not going to get at other conferences. We have an abundance mentality. We're not afraid that if we share all our secrets that people are going to take all the work. We believe that if we share what we know, that the universe pays us back and we do even better, even if our attendees can hopefully do some of the cases without us, although we end up partnering with a lot of people too, but that's their choice. So yeah, if you want to do trucking litigation, it is a fantastic course. It's cheap. It's a one-day course, but we put in a lot of good content. We work really hard on it.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but yeah, it sounds like a fantastic event. So I got to ask, why trucking cases? You built an entire firm and brand around trucking cases. So why do you believe trucking litigation remains one of the greatest opportunities for plaintiff lawyers?
3 reasons. It's fun, it's profitable, and you can make the world a safer place. So let's start about why it's fun. There's a bunch of safety rules that are in writing, published by the government or by industry. But at the same time, there are all these economic incentives for companies to break those safety rules. And so you're able to go in there and prove wrongdoing over and over again, but once you learn the rules and how it all works and all the incentives. Number 2, it's profitable. I mean, not only do trucking companies have bigger liability policies than regular cars, I mean, you typically have at least a $750,000 or $1 million insurance policies. But then once you know what you're doing, you can make cases worth more either by taking a case where if it was a regular car doing it, it would be the car's fault. But because trucks are different, you can win cases that you could not win in the same factual scenario was car and car. And then you can also, if you know what you're doing, find additional defendants. Like sometimes you think it's just some mom and pop trucking company, but really and truly like Amazon or a big broker like C.H. Robinson will really be on the hook. And then you have hundreds of millions in coverage and not just 1 million in coverage. And you can uncover that when you learn what you're doing. And the third, you can make a difference. I mean, you have companies doing bad things that are hurting people. And if you do it right, sometimes you get them to agree to changes as part of your settlement. And sometimes just by raising the costs of doing business unsafely, you put enough pressure on companies to start doing the right thing and preventing some of these deaths and horrible crashes.
Well, follow up to that, because I mean, these sound just a lot. It's complicated and you're going up against a very tough opponent. So what separates lawyers who consistently succeed in trucking cases versus those who don't?
Time and effort. So are you going to put in the time it takes to learn? So you have to learn the rules, where the rules come from, and the why of the rules. Because sometimes the rules sound ridiculous until you understand why they are. And a good example is following distance. Following distance in our passenger cars is usually 2 to no more than 4 seconds. And a tractor trailer at the highway speeds is 7 or 8 seconds. Why is it so much more? That sounds ridiculous at first till you realize a truck is a lot bigger. It weighs up to 80,000 pounds. That's 20 times the weight of a normal passenger car. It has air brakes, which means when you hit the brake, it takes an extra half second before the brakes even start to work. And it takes longer to stop once you hit them. So because they take more time and distance to stop, because they cause more damage when they do hit because of the massive weight, you need a bigger following distance. And when you get that, now it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, would you say are some trends in trucking litigation, like AI technology, driver-facing cameras, telematics? What do you say are some of that attorneys need to be paying attention to right now?
Yeah, well, telematics has definitely been huge for a long time, which is you have, cameras sometimes facing out, sometimes also facing the driver. You have second by second GPS data that's being recorded. So you have the speed, whether or not they're doing sudden stops, whether they're following too close, whether they're using a phone or some other device that's distracting them. Depending on the system, sometimes all this stuff is being tracked in real time. And then what is the company doing about it? So I think telematics is a huge issue. But to me, the biggest issue in trucking right now is that the big companies that have the money and insurance are trying to keep the profit but shift the liability down to a bunch of like fly-by-night companies. And
Hmm.
I'll give you an example. Let's say a company like JB Hunt, major motor carrier, one of the biggest ones. It also has a broker division. So sometimes if they get a load, JB Hunt will keep the load. Sometimes JB Hunt will subcontract that load down to some mom and pop company that
Mhm.
only has $750,000 or $1 million worth of insurance, no training, no safety program. Well, with that fly-by-night company causes harm, the JB Hunt wants to wash their heads of it. And so what we're having to learn is, and we have that with Amazon, we have that with FedEx, a lot of the big
Sure.
companies. And so a lot of it is learning how to see who really has control, who's really responsible, and holding them accountable.
Makes sense. All right. You are a busy man. I'm gonna just keep on going and
Yeah.
move over back to the let's go back to the big rig boot camp. What would you say is maybe one tactic or strategy attendees could implement immediately in their next trucking case that they may learn at the boot camp?
Yeah. So I think a couple things that we're doing real like quick hitters is like what to do in the first 24 hours of getting your case. So you got a
Mhm.
case in, what letters need to go out, what kind of inspections, what kind of downloads, what giving you the forms, arming you to do that. What are the top 10 rules you need to learn? I can't go through every rule in the 6-hour program, but I can give you your top 10.
Sure. Yeah.
And where to find them, where they come from, how to use them. We're doing live demos, cross-examination of a truck driver, cross-examination of a safety director, a direct examination of a medical doctor. But we're not just
No.
showing off. We're saying this is a theory, this is what we're trying to do, and then we give a demonstration so you can see how you can do it yourself. So those are kind of things, and just kind of for fun, but kind of, for when you get that big case. In the last 6 months, we've settled 2 cases over $20 million at our firm. And so we're going to do a
Wow.
little bit of like, when you get that massive case, what do you have to do to get them to pay you, the 20, $30 million that on cases that other people might settle for 3 or 5. And we're going to give like a step-by-step action plan. So it's not just like saying, hey, we're badass. Where it's like, hey, if you get one of these cases, of course, we'd love to partner with you on it. But even if you do it yourself, if you do these things, you get paid a lot more money.
Yeah, it sounds like the attendees are gonna get a lot out of it. That's all they had.
Absolutely. It's going to be full of great information, and it's going to be fun and high energy too.
So you have a turbocharge your case workshop the day after the boot camp. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what the experience is and who should apply?
Yeah, I keep looking for like, how can I give back more? And so, for the boot camp itself, it's great that we provide a lot of information in general about how to handle trucking cases. But I know that a lot of people have questions on their specific case. And unfortunately, with 250 plus people going to the event, I only have so much time to talk to people while I'm there.
Mhm.
And you can always like give me a call, send me an email. We can set up a time to talk. But we also thought we'd do like a specific opportunity for people. So it's limited to only 6 people. It may or may not be sold out by now. I think we had 1 space left when we met last week. And they're each going to send us some information about their case in advance so we can prepare for it. And at the end of that day, the day after the boot camp, we're going to have workshop their case. We're going to print out their best anchors, which is like the sources for the rules. We're talking about the why
Okay.
of the rules, how to work up your case, how to maximize it, and make sure you go home with some stuff that you can actually use in your case. And we just did that, something similar at the Trial Lawyers University in Huntington Beach last week. And the people that attended really loved it. And so I'm looking forward to doing it again because, again, it lets me get back in a different way. Like, I love doing the
Mhm.
one-to-many at the boot camp on the stage. It's a lot of fun. But then, having the time to be able to dig in on someone else's case and really try to help them on their case is also very rewarding.
Yeah, and I admire how generous you are of your time, and I bet the people that get that time are they get a lot from it.
I hope so. I hope so. So far, everybody seems happy that's done it. And
All right, so in closing for the Big Rig Boot Camp, I'm a PI attorney. I'm on the fence. What's your pitch? Why should I be on it in San Antonio on July 9th?
because you're going to get great information from someone who's not scared to share secrets. So it's going to be unfiltered and not like, well, you need to do all these things. You probably need to call me to come in on your case. No, it's going to be great information. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's probably, we just want to break even. We're not trying to make money on this. It is probably the most low cost CLE you're going to find anywhere.
Yeah, sounds like a no-brainer to go. All right, quick fire. Let's have some fun. Best restaurant in San Antonio. Me and my wife are headed down there in a couple months. Like, where do we go?
Ladino at the Pearl, Ladino. If you like
Okay.
Mediterranean food, they don't have a
Mhm.
Michelin star, but they're Michelin recognized. J
Oh,
Prime for steaks. For authentic Mexican food, El Jimador, or Taquitos
Mm.
West Avenue for more of a Tex-Mex experience, El Mirasol.
Okay, I am going to when I rewatch this, I'm gonna save all of those restaurants in my Google Maps. Favorite legal movie?
Legally Blonde.
Nice, great choice. I actually saw that for the first time ever. I loved it. Okay, so I'm going to close this out just with a big outro, but Big Rig Boot Camp returns on July 9th, 2026 at the Boeing Center at Techport in San Antonio, Texas. You can learn more at bigrigbootcamp.com. And if you're looking to improve your trucking practice, learn from some of the best trial lawyers in the country, and connect with fellow plaintiff attorneys, this is definitely an event worth checking out, especially if you just listened to this episode. So thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you on the podcast, and you're going to have an amazing event, and I hope it's such a huge success.
Thank you, and I can't wait till we next meet up in person.
All right. Thanks, Michael.